Hello.
Hey,
How are you?
good. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Doing well.
Good. Awesome. Where are you guys located?
Clarksville, Tennessee, about an hour away from Nashville.
Oh, wow. So you're not far away. Are you guys a pretty hot area then too, since you're not too far out of that?
Yes, yeah, it's really competitive. Yeah, pretty saturated. I mean, we've got Tennessee home buyers. I think they were on pace to buy 400 houses this year alone. I know by July of last year they had already bought like 75 houses in like a month and a half during at the start of the COVID pandemic. So, but yeah, last time I talked to them, they were on track to do over 365, so over a deal a day in Nashville. So, but
Wow.
they also buy out here, and then there's wholesaling is just becoming so prevalent just everywhere. So you get a lot of people that are marketing and buying. So yeah.
And are you two a power couple? Are you two the two like two amigos?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So we kind of started doing this. My introduction into like wholesaling or investment properties was back in 2015, I believe. I worked for a large wholesale company out of Dallas. One of my lieutenants actually worked there, and he said, "Hey, you've got your real estate license. You come work for us." And of course, they show you all the good stuff, and I made pretty good money there. But there were literally guys that are making $50,000 a month in commissions, and so kind of fast forward, we relocated, went to Missouri, and I deployed a third time, and came back, and I was acquisitions manager for a wholesale company in Springfield, Missouri.
Oh,
And,
wow.
and yeah, yep. So I got a lot of experience there. They were a smaller company. I think there were 4 or 5 of us, and so I got a lot of experience on just going on appointments and making offers and just kind of seeing really what that business looked like. And then in 2019, we moved here to Clarksville, and we started marketing to purchase properties. I want to say around this time last year. I think we're about to come up on our first full year. So I think we started marketing like beginning of May last year.
Yeah.
And we closed our first deal June 2nd of last year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was no time at all.
No, I think we had our first property under contract within a week of marketing. So, and that was off of a text campaign. But the majority of our deals have actually come from driving for dollars. So and I've got a theory about it is that everybody wants to do the whole cold calling and cold texting. And they can do that from a computer, and they can do that from anywhere. So that's great, but everybody's calling the same list and calling the same people. So especially around here, one of the big things is everybody wants to look at like the absentee owner list and whatnot. Well, here that doesn't necessarily work as much because 50% of the absentee owners here in Clarksville are all military members that probably have less than 3 years into that property. So maybe they had to move somewhere and they just became an absentee owner. So they don't really have the equity to necessarily sell it. And then the other ones that do have properties, they probably have 8 or more properties. So, and so that space is really competitive to get into the cold calling and lists and stuff like that. So what we found is that we really target down houses that may not be on lists, that are vacant, or they look distressed. We actually just closed on one Monday, and I think from the time that we found it to the time that we had it under contract was like 4 or 5 days.
Well, let's give you. I just got a bell, so let's give you a bell.
Yeah. So yeah, that has been like basically our niche is just driving for dollars, and then taking the leads that we DealMachine, and then exporting those in like in files, and then bulk skip tracing, and then just cold calling. So based on those, not really a list or anything else. So,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can I just say, I didn't want to interrupt you, but thank you so much for your service.
Thank you.
Very appreciate, and you as well, Ashley, like having him deployed 3 times, like, oh my gosh. So thank you guys. I'm so honored to be talking to you. Like, who calls? I guess that's what I want to know, is like, how do you find time to do that? Do you guys switch off, or?
It's me. I do all the time.
They always say a woman's touch is like, people respond better to a female cold call.
They do.
They actually do, and I would say that I'm probably better versed at cold calling, but I've noticed that a lot of people respond better to her. It's less abrasive to have a woman call, I think, and she gets a higher callback rate than I would if I left a voicemail. So.
Ashley's got them numbers working for her, because she's like, yes, my call rate's higher, no big deal. But so Ashley, when do you decide to set time to call then?
Probably like a couple of times a week. Normally from like 10 to 2 is when I do it, because I don't want to do it too early in the morning, because I know people are getting ready. So I think, to me, 10 is a good time, and then like 10 to 2 is when I do it.
That's smart, because if they're on if they're an absentee owner and they're on a different time zone or something like that, I've accidentally done that one time and they were not happy with me. So that's a very good time. So how many deals have you closed with us so far then?
So I would say using DealMachine, and we had to kind of scale back what we were doing with you guys, because when I say scale back, so like when I say that is like, we were sending a lot of postcards out, but the mail response rate is just super low, really, in any market, and we weren't sending enough to see the value in that call range. So I think our market is about a 1% response rate, 1 to 3%, depending on what the month looks like. And so if you kind of boil that down, it takes a lot of postcards to go out. And so, like I said, our bread and butter has just basically been having that as a data source, and then exporting those to bulk skip trace it. But I want to say we're about done with our first year, and what we've calculated so far, by the end of this month, we'll have closed 17 deals over the year. And our second deal actually it was a DealMachine. It was a DealMachine lead, and we skip traced it directly from there. This is before we started getting a whole lot of volume into the app, and nobody had ever touched this lead. We called him. He was super responsive, wanted to sell the house, and we wholesaled that property and made $62,000 off that property.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went a little like crazy. That 62,001 deal. That's insane.
Yeah.
It was nice to pick up the check. Like,
I would have, blown that sucker up and just put it on the wall or something. Like,
yeah, it was basically my yearly salary in one paycheck. So
that's what that's what makes me so excited about this industry and having conversations like this with you guys, because it changes lives. I mean, like you said, like a lot of us, that's how much our salaries are. So one deal. And so are the majority though from driving for dollars then? I know you said you don't pull lists. So
so I would say 2/3 of the deals that we've closed have been driving for dollars. We have a couple that have come in as like referrals.
Ooh, nice.
We've had a couple come from direct mail. And then I think one came from a texting campaign. Actually, 2 have come from a texting campaign now. We just locked another one up off of that. But the rest of them have all come from driving for dollars, just going out, boots on the ground. And we haven't made a habit out of it as much as we used to, but we were doing it probably 3 nights a week, where we would just get in the car and, just use the map and say, hey, where have we not been on the map yet, and just drive around. So
and sometimes like we like we know our market is saturated, so sometimes we like to go out further. And
Yeah.
you will be surprised how many houses are out there.
Yeah, we've started pushing into more rural areas. It's just so easy it's so accessible for somebody who lives in a city just to drive the block. And admittedly, we've lost deals in our own neighborhood that we just didn't really market to. I've always kind of been a little nervous about that, but at the same point in time, you go further out and nobody wants to take the time to fill up the car and drive out 30 minutes and drive back. But that deal that we did that was $62,000 wholesale fee, that was 40 minutes away from our house.
Wow.
And we just happened to get lucky and drive by, and I saw it kind of up on the hill behind a lot of bushes and stuff. I was like, man, I think that was a vacant house. And yeah, so and the thing about that is that was kind of the perfect scenario. It's close enough to Nashville, and Nashville prices are exploding. They're about 3 times is what they are here in Clarksville. So yeah, it's a perfect scenario. It was a town that was gentrifying very quickly near Nashville.
Wow. Oh my gosh. So how much have you did 17 deals last year. Like how much would you say you made then? What was your profit for your first year?
So because we closed our first deal in June, so we basically had 6 months of the last year. We were at $98,000 just in 6 months alone, and then we closed. I don't know, 4 more like right at the very beginning of the year, and a couple of those were $20,000 wholesale fees. And that would probably be our average, is about 20,000, but we'll also see, some around the 10. I think we had one that was like 7, or a couple that were 7. But the majority of them are close to that $20,000 range.
Oh my gosh, that blows my mind. In our market, like you're lucky if you get 10. So like to hear you guys get consistently like around 20 is amazing. And for people who are watching this, like kind of starting out, like how much of that do you reinvest back into your business?
So the first 6 months after we got that really big wholesale fee, I kind of got really aggressive. I started adding a bunch of marketing streams pretty quickly, and we just didn't see the turnaround on that money that we wanted to. So, but it is kind of what it is. You got to put money into the business. And so we've really kind of ran pretty lean since the beginning of the year. And what I mean by that is we cut out direct mail marketing. We're basically trying to niche down as hard as possible on the driving for dollars, doing the things that, they don't really cost much money. So we just bought a bunch of door hangers. We're going to start door knocking here pretty soon, just walking up and down through the neighborhood. It's the same concept as cold calling, whole list, but you actually get to see the person that you're talking to. They know I'm a local person. And another thing is obviously like military can spot military. And I think that's another thing that's like been really well for our business, is that a lot of people who realize that I'm in the military, they have sold me houses because I was military and the competition wasn't. And the reasons we spend time and effort trying to build a very honest brand and local brand in the area, and try to treat people with respect. And it's been hard at times, but there's also been some deals that we've closed that I think maybe others would have walked away because it's gotten a little hard at times. Yeah. And so especially when I talk to other wholesalers, I'm like, man, the worst thing you can do is lock a property up and not be sure of the numbers, and then have to turn that contract loose, because you don't know what kind of situation you're putting that seller into. So generally, if it's something that we put under contract, it's something that we would buy ourselves.
Right.
Oh, that's such a good way of looking at it. I like that a lot. I've never actually heard someone say that, where it's just like, would I buy this property?
Right. Yeah. And that's kind of translated over into the disposition side of things as well. Like we've never really had an issue selling any properties because we've typically put out really good deals. And obviously, the name of the game is to buy low and sell high. We do sometimes push the upper limits of like what we can sell something for. But that's just knowing where the market's going. It's accelerating so quickly around here that, just a house, we actually thought we had lost out on a house 3 months ago. And we for that property was I think 185 at the time, and now looking at it again, the seller came back and it's probably closer to 215.
Wow.
Yeah, just in like three months time. So
this market is
it's
right now with just everything in prices. I have to say though, going to your door knocking, like bravo, that is hard. Well, it can be mentally hard, but I'll tell you right now, I'm glad you said that, because if I saw you two walk up to my house, I would feel more comfortable, because one, you're a beautiful couple. Like,
thank you.
Thank you.
I would just be like, they probably have car trouble or something. I don't know. And so I'd open up my door. And I think that's going to really set you guys apart. And I've heard so many people are doing that again. I know with COVID, it was kind of like, no, don't do door knocking. But even like if it's a vacant house, they'll go out and just walk around and ask the neighbors, like, hey, have you seen this so-and-so, whatever. I just think that's really great to build rapport with them. So I'm excited to see how that goes for y'all.
Yeah. And another thing with the door knocking is there's so many opportunities that you're able to reach people before they reach other competitors. If you do it consistently enough, and put boots on the ground, you might be able to reach somebody that's thought about selling and they would seriously consider a cash offer right there on the spot, versus like, oh, hey, I saw somebody sign and now I'm going to give them a call. Or, hey, I need to sell this house. I'm going to go to Google and get, 20 different companies, and, how that would go. But so, yeah, I think that's something else. And again, it's just those houses that people may not be cold calling in the first place. So it's just a way to reach the leads that aren't getting, pounded to death.
Right.
So that's kind of our next objective.
I go door knocking because I'm a realtor, and so it helps as well. But I go door knocking, and then sometimes I don't see a lot of feedback from that. But one thing that I do notice about door knocking is like it builds relationships with people. And so now, like, I can drive around, I can see someone, if I know them, we talk, we wave. I ride a bike when I'm doing it just because I don't want to walk. But
hey, no, that's totally understandable. If you're going door to door, I'd rather ride a bike. And that's so good to know too, because you guys even mentioned that some of your deals came from referrals. So, I mean, you built those relationships so strong that it came back tenfold for you. And I have two questions. Oh, okay. I'm going to put two of them together into one. One, what would be a piece of advice I'd love to hear from both of you that you would give someone who's getting into this business, is trying to get that momentum going? Is there something that you would kind of give them advice on, or something motivational to kind of make sure maybe they're not thinking about?
So I came in, I didn't know anything about wholesaling, and I was so scared. Like, there was so much fear. I remember our first wholesale deal, like, showing potential buyers. I didn't want to talk about it. Like, I was so scared. And if I didn't have Anthony kind of explaining the ropes to me and kind of just helping me through it, I don't know where I would be. So my number one thing is just to get a mentor for someone to help you through all that fear that you may go through.
I feel you on that. I had the same exact thing. I almost wanted to say, no, I can't come to the appointment because I'd be afraid of, like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. I think if I had a couple pieces of advice that I could like wrap together, I would just say, if you were new starting out, don't waste your time with a bunch of, the gimmicks that are out there. Like there's so much research that you can do. And there's so many people that talk about it, for free. I would hit those up first. And then the next thing that I think is probably the most important thing, and I see a lot of wholesalers that, and I think a lot of our competition, their usual wholesale fee is quite a bit lower than ours. Like most of them will get, $3,000 to $5,000 fees, and that's good money. I would never turn that away. But what I see is that a lot of them, they don't really understand, one, putting together the ARV properly, and then two, they don't really understand what it takes to rehab a house. And so, I'm sure everybody's seen that house that's posted on Facebook and somebody's trying to wholesale it, and it probably needs to be pushed over, and they say, hey, it's a $30,000 rehab, when in reality it's probably closer to like 75, 80-ish. And then so they just always cut themselves out of a profit that way. And that's one thing that I've tried to do the best that I can. And I will tell you, since we started closing on our own deals, it's only just tightened up, what those rehab numbers should look like. So now that I know, hey, a toilet at Lowe's costs $80, or a sheet of plywood, unfortunately they're super expensive right now, but they're about $50 or $60 wherever you're at now, or just basic things like, hey, what's a can of paint cost? And so those things right there, I would say would like you out a ton. Just knowing your numbers and then being confident in those numbers whenever you either go to dispo the property, or even, you're making your offer. So
That's such a good, I will say as well, on a personal note, I just made one of those Jenga things, the big Jenga block ones. Oh my God, wood is so expensive.
Yes.
Wasn't even for my house. And I was just like, man, I should have waited a little bit longer.
right.
But my last question for you guys, because I want to be very respectful of your time, is what does 2021 look like for you guys? Are you looking to hire drivers? Like, what are your goals for this year?
So my goal, so I'm kind of like, it may sound bad, but I'm also transitioned to a realtor.
Yeah.
And then I'm also doing the wholesaling as well. And honestly, my goal is to list houses 100%, and then to help with this wholesaling. I mean, but our goal is to double what we did last year.
Yeah. So we would like to do probably 30 deals this year, and I definitely think it's possible. And I'll be transitioning out of the Army later this summer, so I'll be able to devote all my time to the business. So my realistic goal is that we can do 35 deals over our second year, but also my goal by the end of next year, just in general, not necessarily our fiscal business year, but the end of next year in general, is to own 20 properties ourselves. So we bought one that we closed, and we just got it rented out, and we'll refinance it. We closed on our second one of the year Monday, and we've got 2 more under contract that we'll buy. And I'm pretty sure that if we buy another 3, it's kind of like my estimations, that I can basically replace my income now with the Army with rental income. So yeah, that's our goal. I think we can be close to 8 doors by the end of this year, but for sure we want to hit that 20 door mark by the end of next year.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. You're already like stepping up to the plate and like building your portfolio out. And actually, I love the fact that you're a real estate agent, because you guys can get into like the wholesaling thing too. I think you guys have just like a Swiss Army knife of ways you can help people, which I find that so cool.
Yep,
Yeah,
that was our goal.
Like a one-stop shop. If you don't like our offer, then hey, I can list your house. So
yeah, like it's like win-win. Like they don't have to go anywhere.
yeah.
Right.
I love that. And so it's is Clarksville like it's north of Nashville? Which way is it?
It's northwest. Yeah. So if what is this, Highway 20 out here? 24. Yeah. So if you just take Highway 24 northwest out of Nashville, you'll basically drive right by Clarksville. Okay.
Well, we went to Nashville for the Bigger Pockets conference, like, pre-COVID, like 2 years ago or whatever. Man, I want to go back. So, and I want to meet a bunch of people down there like you guys. I had another gentleman who's around there who owns like a pharmacy or something, and he does, anyways. It's so cool to see how many people are in those areas, and I can't wait to actually maybe get to interview you guys and get to maybe even do a case study at some point too, if y'all would be interested.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And just let us know. I've been following Bigger Pockets for quite a long time, and that's honestly, I went through their podcast college, if you want to say that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I've never heard it called that, but that is so genius.
Yeah. So I spent a lot of time when I was deployed listening to their shows and analyzing properties that I was never going to buy or any of that stuff. And so I'd like to have a bigger footprint there. Our time is just so thin right now with the business and, active duty, and she's trying to get the retail side of things moving as well. So, but as this year into, what it will become, and hopefully COVID kind of starts toning down, then we'll kind of, I hope to have a bigger imprint. I think we're going to start doing some YouTube of our rehabs and stuff like that, and just try to have a little bit bigger presence, and maybe see like if we can help others out along the way.
I love that. Please let me know when you guys like launch a YouTube or your Instagram. Happy to repost and share out your guys' stuff, because
so we kind of have, it's not a shared thing, but I post a lot at doors _ the number 2 _ freedom. And, basically that's our, doors to freedom. The more doors that we own, the more freedom we'll have. So, and my 5-year, or by the time I'm 35, which will be July 2024, is to own 100 doors. So that's kind of our big goal that we're going to work toward. And we're just posting all kinds of stuff on there. It's fairly new. I haven't ever posted just a ton, but we've really kind of ramped it up the last couple of weeks. So
I love it. No, I'll totally post stuff, and I'm actually wanting to send you guys some DealMachine swag, so you could take a picture of it and tag us if you wanted to.
Okay.
But anything that you guys want shared out, happy to share out anything, or you have my email. Both of you can have my phone number on there too, so please let me know if I can do anything to help you guys. But I would also love, so you're averaging, like you said, you did 17 in or half of that in 6 months. How many average are you closing that a month, do you feel like?
We slowed down the last 3 months because we worked on our own rehab on the first house, which is a big mistake. And so we slowed down quite a bit the last 3 months, but we literally finished that rehab, and I think we got like 4 or 5 properties under contract like within a week. And so when we were full scale, last October was probably our best month. I think we got 4 under contract. And so November we closed 2, December, the 1st of December we closed 2, and then the 1st of January we closed 2. So we were averaging 2 closings and 2 to 3 houses under contract a month. But a lot of those, it was like one of them, we actually sat on the contract for like 2 months because the seller, she had sold us our first deal actually, and it's the one that we closed on as our first single family rental here. And so she didn't want to take the tax hit. So she said, hey, if we could close after the new year, that would help me out a lot. And so we're pretty flexible when it comes to, our closing dates and stuff like that. Obviously we'd love to get paid, but that's one of the big things, obviously, flexible closing that we've been able to offer. So it just depends, but when we get rocking and rolling, we're usually at 2 to 3 properties a month that we'll close on average. So
I was about to say, well, when you get there again, I'd love to get you guys on a webinar to be with David and have people ask questions if you're comfortable with that, because you guys are a power couple, and there's a lot of people who are starting out partnerships with people and stuff like that. And I know a lot of people would want to know like how, and especially Ashley on your side of being an agent as well, because we are seeing more agents come in trying to do the investing side as well. But sometimes with different brokerages, like, did you talk to your broker and be like, hey, did they say keep it separate? Don't, were there contingencies there?
Yeah. So I did talk to my broker, and yeah, it's keep it separate, but also if I decide, if we wholesale a property, Keller Williams still gets a cut of it. So if my business commingles with theirs, then they have to get their cut, of course.
Yeah, and one way we try to operate the business without, mucking anything up really is that we are both on the business LLC, and then obviously she's licensed. Even though she's making cold calls, they don't necessarily have to know right then and there that she's a licensed agent just as a phone call. But when we go out to meet, we always kind of disclose that, and it's on all of our agreements that, hey, one of the managing members on this LLC is a licensed realtor in the state of Tennessee. So we try to keep things as separate as possible, but we know that we can have opportunities to refer back and forth if need be. So we're still kind of growing through it and seeing what that process looks like, but so far it's been good. So
excellent. Oh, I love that. Good. Sometimes it can be a pain, but I'm glad that your brokerage is like pretty chill about it. Would either of you like a hat or a shirt for DealMachine swag?
I'm cool with a shirt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm gonna hold that ransom until you send me a really cute picture of you both to put on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking time to talk to me. It's been a pleasure. And I hope if you ever find your way up to Indianapolis at any point, please let us know. Then you can meet David and all the good people.
Okay, sounds good. We haven't made it our way up there, but I know there's a lot going on in that city. So yeah. I'd love to
There's
come
a
up.
lot. It's so crazy. And like my neighbors are selling their house because they go, yeah, and we know we're going to get like double what we paid for it. And I'm just like, oh, this is true.
Yeah, but then they're going to have to buy something just as expensive.
Oh, I know. No, they're building. And I'm like, you're building with one
Oh gosh.
right
Yeah.
now? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Oh, no. All right. Well, you guys have a great day and let me know if you need anything.
Yeah,
All right,
absolutely. So much. We appreciate your time.
You too. Bye.
All right, bye.